Hello and welcome everyone to the episode on connecting with Charlie Peacock. This is episode 7. My name is Sam Lee, for those who haven't met me before, and I'm the founder of Connect with Confidence, and I'm the interviewer. So, how have you been today, Charlie?
It's been a good day, Sam. Mondays are good days usually for me. I get the chance to reflect over the weekend and get stuck into the week. So Mondays are usually my favourite days of the week, really.
Oh, really? Sounds great. And what did you do on the weekend?
Well, I squeezed in a little bit of exercise, but also had a lovely dinner with some very old and close friends who we don't see that all that often. So it was nice to do that. It slowed down Sunday a fair bit, given that we consumed a little bit of red wine, but we had a nice meal and a nice chat, and that was good.
Sounds great. Sounds very relaxing for you.
Yeah, it was good, mate. It was good.
And okay. And what exercise do you do normally?
Well, I like to road bike.
Road bike. Oh.
I've got one of those,
Yep.
and it's not something that I'm terribly fast at or terribly good at, but I like getting out in the fresh air and
Yep.
getting a little bit of speed and telling a few jokes with my mates. And I also like to run a little bit, but my daughter calls it a middle-aged shuffle, not a run.
Yeah.
But that's just about keeping the heart pumping, mate.
Yep.
Because the minute it stops pumping, the minute I'm not much good to anybody, you know.
Very true. Yeah. Same as me. Like, I guess once you're stuck in the office more, like you just have to do some exercise to, like what you say, get the heart pumping.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, so what do you like to do outside of work, Charlie?
Um, well, I like gardening. I find that very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
I also like ocean swimming. That's been a big part of my life for a long time.
Yep.
I also find that very refreshing. I love getting in the ocean or being near the ocean.
Yep.
And yeah, I like being in nature. So I also did a couple of hikes over the weekend. So you know, I live in a fairly busy part of Sydney, but you can get fairly lost there with 15 or so minutes. So yeah, that's about it, mate.
That's great. That's totally. I guess yeah. Like it's when you're in Sydney, like it's very fast paced, and then I guess you really have to keep yourself active in all sorts of ways. And yeah, what was the last time we met? I think last time we met was yeah, when we had that lunch
Yeah.
in Macquarie. Yeah.
Macquarie Park, a very good pad thai. Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was a good feed and a good chat.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great chat. And then yeah, remember I still owe you a lunch from last time.
Yeah, that's right. We're going for lobster soon, yeah?
Lobsters, yeah, definitely lobsters. Lobster ball or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, it's very good. And I heard before yeah, you like fishing as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Fishing is one of my favorite pastimes. I'm not particularly good at it, as we discussed over lunch, but I do enjoy just the relaxation of it. I find it very meditative, and I think it's just part of being in nature as well. So yeah, it's a very nice thing to do.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm into fishing as well. Like I think I fished yesterday, but didn't really get much luck to get some bigger ones or small stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like where do you normally go fishing? Do you have a boat?
I've got a little boat, and sometimes sometimes I go in Sydney because I obviously live in Sydney. But I grew up in Port Stephens, which is a couple of hours north of Sydney, and so I go up there every a couple of times a year, and I go camping with a group of primary school friends actually.
Oh wow!
And we go fishing and telling stories about how good we used to be and all the sorts of things. Actually, if you look over my shoulder, and this isn't a plant, but if you look over my shoulder, there's an island that's called Broughton Island.
Oh.
And that's the place we go fishing.
Oh, right.
It's also the place that I find myself most at peace in the world. It's very close to me. And funny that you might ask about fishing, and I saw it over my shoulder. So that's where I go fishing.
Wow, that's nice. And where's that? Where's that Broaden Island?
It's actually off Port Stephens.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know about it, but you need a boat to get there. And I have some friends that have got boats, and
Oh, okay.
so I've been going out there almost every year since I was about 4 or 5 years old. There's been a couple of years, but I've missed it. But hence I've scoured all the rocks and the rock pools and scraped my knees on lots of the cliffs and had a lot of fun there growing up. So,
fair enough. It's all about good experiences, eh? And is that the secret hotspot for the best fish?
Well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you, Sam. So,
yeah, that's all right.
I've fished a lot, and I've caught a couple of different bits and pieces. But again, mate, it's not about what you catch; it's just about the state while you're doing it. You know.
Yeah, I guess when I ask people that, where's your best secret spot to catch all the fish, and everyone's like, nah, they're not gonna tell you for sure.
That's right.
No one wants to take over a spot and then catch all the fish. But yeah, like what's the best what's the biggest fish you catch, and what type of fish is it?
Listen, I've got a couple. This year I caught a 10-pound snapper, and I hadn't caught a fish like that for about 15 years.
Wow.
So that was pretty special.
Yep. And how long is 10 pounds? Did you?
It's about, I think just a bit over 80 centimeters, or maybe just a bit under. It was very, very big.
80 centimeters.
I couldn't fit it in this camera, and last October I went fishing up in Northern Territory, and I caught that.
Wow, what's that?
So that's called a Spanish mackerel.
Oh, wow.
That was 130 centimeters or something, or 110 centimeters. It gets bigger all the time, depends on.
Happy days.
So a few different bits of it. I've been very, very lucky. I've got a couple of my trophy fish off the list, but there's a few to go, mate, and I've got a bit of time to do it, so I don't want to. Yeah.
It's always good to catch big ones and I guess mount on the wall like your personal best.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like when you catch big ones, I guess you have to go further across the ocean instead of just like on the harbors and just rock fishing, etc. like that.
Yeah, well, it's amazing what you can catch if you're good at it, and I'm not. But if you know where to go and you know when to go, and you are good at it, you can actually pull some very good fish out of Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, totally. It's just knowing where to go at the right time in the right place. Yeah, cool. So Charlie, tell us a bit about your current career. So what made you become a sales trainer, and how did you get up on it? So I heard from last time you started for how long have you been doing this now?
Just a bit over 4 years, Sam.
Yep.
And I think the thread of developing people goes a long way back through my life, as does the idea of working for oneself.
Yep.
And I went off to university after high school and did a degree in business. I left university at the end of that, and it was during the recession we had to have, and it was particularly difficult to find a job.
Yep.
And I was lucky to get one at my family company who had a building materials business.
Yep.
And I got a job in sales, and it didn't take me very long, even though I had a degree and was 22 and thought I knew everything. It didn't take me very long to realize that I knew nothing. And I was fortunate to have a managing director that sent me to a 3-day sales training program. And essentially it was 3 days that changed my life. And at that sales training program, the trainer, the course facilitator said that there was a dearth of good salespeople in Australia. And it was kind of like he planted a seed in my brain. And I've spent 25 years working it out, and I think I've finally got it worked out, but that's probably a bit longer conversation than this one. So, I spent 10 years in that family business. I was the first manager in New South Wales, and we grew it through people from 0 to 30 million in sales. So that was a lot of fun. I then joined a couple of other different organizations doing a variety of business development, general management roles. And about coming up to just 5 years ago, actually, I had a bit of an epiphany on the back of three things. One of them was the tragic death of a childhood friend. He died of cancer, which kind of shook me up a little bit. And that same week, the organization that I was working for, we had our third restructure in 4 years. So that was something pretty hard to take. And then the final thing was I got asked by an old friend of mine to attend a leadership retreat. And the leadership retreat was something that I really, really needed at the time. And I was lucky enough to get myself to it. And it just really helped me reset my compass, I call it, and find a business that I could run myself that was much more rewarding than working for other organizations. And I'd had a great career. I really had. I've had a lot of fun. I've seen a few different parts of the world on some of those travels, or with some of those organizations. But I've met a lot, and I've met a lot of great people along the way.
That's great. So so you got this idea when you think that you're really good at sales, and then you started this career because of it.
Yeah, I think sales interested me because an early mentor of mine said nothing happens if no one sells anything. Yep. And I've been at university for 4 years and high school for 6.
Yep.
And then joining the workforce, I realized that I hadn't really learned much at all. And I found that very, very confronting. And very much brought into a family that the expectation was that you'd go to university, and I just found that was really interesting for me to try and rationalize why I turned up at work even though I was 22 with these qualifications, but I didn't know anything. Yep. And there's a book which I've got just here, which is Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I read that in the early 1990s and couldn't believe that I'd missed it. I got halfway through it before I went to the front of the book to see when it was written, thinking that it might have been the early 90s or perhaps late 80s, and only to find out it was written in 1936. And it astounded me it wasn't part of the general curriculum. So I think went on a journey of learning sales, applying the concepts that I learned in that sales training course, making a stack of mistakes along the way and learning from those mistakes.
Yep.
And so I wouldn't say that I'm a great salesperson. I would most certainly say that I've tried to work it out, and I've practiced really hard, and I'm happy. I've made a lot of mistakes. So.
That's all right. I guess it's the mistakes that make you get to where you are now, I guess.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that. I guess everyone needs to be resilient in what they do, like in terms of doing things and then knowing what's wrong and then improvising from that. And I guess you've been through all that. That's all really what matters, I guess. Yeah.
I think the other thing is that no one ever sets out in life to be a salesperson. You get people who want to be an accountant or an engineer, a cook or a builder, but no one starts out as I want to be a salesperson as a career, and therefore there's not. I was going to say there's not a book or a program. There's 1,000 books and 1 million programs.
Yep.
But I think it's part of it's that, and that. And also, you can learn sales skills. And that was what struck me, that you can learn and apply them and get better at it. So it's not unlike any other skill. But in terms of that, if you really apply yourself. But lots of people have a lot of trouble with the idea of being a salesperson, despite the fact that every company needs sales. So I think it's an opportunity.
Yeah, totally. Like I was doing sales for over 10 years. And then I get what you mean. Like it's kind of like you're more of a outgoing person. You like meeting people, you like meeting clients, and yeah, really about selling yourself more instead of the product service. So like what you said, the sales skills can be learned. And it's through your skills that you can like sell the customer on whatever service you have. So totally get where you're coming from. And yeah, I guess it's a good skill. I guess you're kind of like a frontline person representing whoever you are. And then, yeah, it's pretty rewarding with sales because once you make a sale, you get commission, number one, you get a sense of, I should say, success. And yeah, it's really cool to be in sales.
Yeah, no, I like that, what you've said about success, because I think that's, I like to help people help themselves is one of my life mantras.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think that that humans are better people when they love what they do.
Yeah.
And generally, if you're successful at something, you'll love it.
Yeah.
And if I can do my own little bit to help the world that I can influence to be better at that and to be better humans, then hopefully in some way I'll contribute to society being a little bit better than it is than when I came to the planet.
Yeah, totally. I guess when you're a sales trainer or sales coach, I guess everyone really looks up to you, like especially, and then when you help them to generate results, I guess that's where the best part is. Generate results, and I guess it's really all about your passion as well. Like that's why, like for myself, I started this business in helping people to connect, because I like to connect with people. I guess you have to start somewhere and really find that the thing that you like doing, or else as if other people like do something that they don't like, it's very easy to give up in a way.
I think it's interesting, mate. I remember clearly about 20 years ago watching a television program that said that something like 5% of people living their dream. And my immediate thought was, gee, that's pretty sad for the rest of us. And so that kind of made me wonder a little bit, and as did the fact that I'd come home to my wife most nights, who loves her job more than anybody I know. And I used to say to myself, well, I want some of that. Why can't I have that? So that's what I've been in search of as well, mate. To have the reward.
I guess it's really about becoming an entrepreneur, like a pioneer in your field. So you'll achieve greater things in life, I guess. I think. Yeah. So yeah, tell me. That brings me to second last question. So how do you positive? Like you've read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was gonna ask you this question. How do you build better relationships with people, like as in your clients or people you meet, and what's the secret behind that?
I kind of do three things. Excuse me. I concentrate on three things whenever I meet anybody, and that can be a social contact, a prospect. It can be somebody in the street. But every time I meet somebody, I have a mindset of service. So more recently, I joined a group called BNI. That's where you and I first met, obviously. And they have a philosophy of givers gain. I was educated by the Jesuits, and they very much have the social conscience or social justice and doing service for others. And when I started my own business, that came back to me fairly heavily. And just 2 or 3 years ago, I was reading a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, which says the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So I spend a lot of time losing myself in the service of others. So I think it's a great way to live. And it's similar to the BNI philosophy of givers gain. So that's the first thing, is to take a mindset of being in service, not turn up to a conversation to see what you can get, but to see what you can give to somebody.
That's great.
Yeah, a friend of mine, or one of the guys in my course last year, he summarized it a little bit better when he said, be the best part of someone else's day. Which is kind of the same sort of thing in a whole lot less words. The second thing that I always try and do whenever I attend a networking function, or perhaps it's just a single cup of coffee with someone like yourself, is to be completely present and make sure that I'm completely focused on the one individual that I'm talking to. not listening to myself about what's going on or what I've got to do for the rest of the day, or overhearing a conversation on the next table, or looking past Sam or somebody else to see if there's someone else I can engage with, but to be completely present. And I guess that leads into the final thing, which is making sure that I have conversations of far more quality than quantity. Many years ago, an old boss of mine used to say, Charlie, I think you're the sort of person that can make a much deeper impact on a small number of people than you can a broad, a little impact on a large range of people. I think that's really true. I really try to connect with who I'm having a conversation with. And I think, you know, I had a grandfather who taught me the value of human connection many years ago through a very simple conversation, and it just resounded with me. I'll never forget it. He died 20 years ago now, and I think about him most days. So, so it's those three things: having a mindset of service, being very present in every single conversation or exchange that you have, and to have conversations of quality rather than quantity are the three pillars that I undertake when I have any conversation with them.
That's great. I guess what you shared just then, I guess it's very true, because when you give more, you gain in return. And I guess it's just that kind of philosophy. And what you said about active listening, just really listen to what the person says and engage in conversation is what really matters. So yeah, there's some great skills that if you follow it, I guess you'll get to build positive relationships with people. I guess it's really how you do it in this society right now. So that's great. There's some great insights that you have. Thanks for sharing that.
There's another really, really lovely quote that that I like, and it is by a poet, an American poet called Maya Angelou. And she says, I've learned in my life that people mostly don't remember what you said and mostly don't remember what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. I mean, I think that epitomizes giver's gain. It epitomizes being the best part of someone else's day, and it epitomizes my grandfather's legacy. So I try and make people feel really good, not for any other reason than like to emotionally connect with them and maybe do some business, or maybe not. It doesn't really matter. As long as I have a meaningful exchange with somebody else, I go away better, and hopefully they do too.
That's great. Very deep and meaningful you have.
Well, yeah, maybe. I just think it's a good way to live. I don't think business development skills or networking skills, I actually think they're life skills.
Totally. You can use it in any context, basically.
Absolutely can. Absolutely can. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. And that pretty much leads me to the last question. So how do we find more about you, Charlie? So how do we find out more about your business? How to check you out on social media? Yeah, how do we do all that?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook. I don't use it as much as I do on LinkedIn, but I would love to connect with anybody on LinkedIn and follow you in return. I have a website that's being rebuilt at present, but it's www.charliepidcock, all one word, .com.au. And that's got my phone number and email address on that. So if you'd like to have a chat or a conversation, I'll be more than happy to do so.
Sounds great. So yeah, there you go, viewers. If you want to reach out to Charlie, he's a great guy. And if you feel free to check out his website and his social media pages, add him on LinkedIn. That's what it's all about, connecting. And yeah, thanks, Charlie, for this great time. I had a good time learning from you, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you soon.
No worries, Sam. Thanks, mate. Appreciate your time too.
All right, have a good one. Have a good weekend.
Bye for now.